Hey everyone, how are you? Welcome back to my show, Scaling Without Screaming. In my work as a business consultant, I get a front row seat to the good, the bad, and sometimes the downright challenging aspects of implementing powerful AI platforms. Today, I want to share some common scenarios that I have encountered, and more importantly, how we tackle them to get our clients on the right path to Salesforce success. The first scenario that I want to talk about is what I named the case of lost leads. This is because the lack of clear goal strategy. Now, what I observed was a mid-sized SaaS company and their head of sales was clearly frustrated with all the automation implementations that was occurring. They had invested in Salesforce with the expectation of boosting their sales, but their team felt like they were just throwing leads into a huge black hole. Marketing was generating what they considered qualified leads, but sales wasn't seeing them effectively or didn't have the context that they needed. What struck me was the lack of clarity defined between both teams. They knew they needed a CRM, but boosting sales was not tied to any specific metric or strategic plan for how Salesforce would get them there. They were trying literally to build a house without the blueprint. So, how they began to fix this was they facilitated a collaborative goal setting workshop with both the sales and marketing leadership and teams all involved. They hammered out exactly what a qualified lead meant to both teams. They established clear service level agreements, SLAs, and how leads would be handed off, and well-defined, concrete, measurable goals. For example, we aim to increase MQL to SQL conversation rate by 10% within the next quarter and reduce the average sales cycle length by about 5%. Once these SMART goals were documented, we mapped out how specific Salesforce features like lead scoring rules, automated lead assignments, and clearly defined the opportunity stages would be configured and utilized to achieve them. We also implemented Salesforce dashboards to provide a real time visibility into these key metrics. This would allow us to track progress and make adjustments when they came up. Now, observation number 2. Now, this one was basically a copy and paste disaster. This was actually poor data migration and integration. I walked into a situation with a growing e-commerce business, and their marketing manager was so stressed out he didn't know what to do. Told him, take a breath. We could do this one small step at a time. What they had done was they had taken the DIY approach to migrating their customer data from chaotic collection of spreadsheets into Salesforce. That resulted in duplicate contracts galore, inconsistent addresses, formats that would make your head spin, and a significant chunk of missing information. Their marketing automation platform, which was supposed to seamlessly integrate with Salesforce, was struggling to function properly due to the data inconsistencies. They were actually bombarding their customers with duplicate emails, and their sales team was inadvertently calling those same leads multiple times. Customers, I'm sure, were just in disbelief that this was happening. It is a classic case of good intentions that totally went awry. This led to a very unprofessional customer experience, which this company ended up writing a personal email and sending it out to all their customers. Now, our immediate priority on fixing this issue was we needed a data cleansing overhaul. And thank goodness, Salesforce has a built-in duplicate management tool and also recommended a data quality app from their very own App Exchange store. And this led to a more advanced cleaning. We even had to do some manual merging, to get things in order. For the integration nightmare, we meticulously mapped out every data field between Salesforce and their marketing automation platform. This would ensure a constant format across the board, especially for those critical fields like email addresses. Once that was all done, we implemented a phased approach to resyncing the data, starting with small, controlled segments to ensure accuracy. Now, moving forward, we had to establish strict data entry rules and implemented data validation within Salesforce to prevent future data quality issues from creeping in. So now let's go to observation number 3. This one I called a shiny new toy. A lot of new companies experience this, and it's insufficient user training and adoption. This was a manufacturing company, and their Salesforce administrator was facing a common hurdle that happens in a lot of companies, and it is user adoption. They had rolled out Salesforce with what they thought was adequate training. All the admin at this time had in Salesforce was a couple of sessions, basics, beginner-friendly Salesforce. But the reality was, by doing this, that most of the sales reps were clinging to their old spreadsheets and familiar processes. They perceived at that moment that Salesforce was way too complex and way too time-consuming. Consequently, data entry was inconsistent and often incomplete. The VP of Sales was understandably frustrated because he lacked the visibility he needed to see the sales pipeline and making adequate forecasting impossible. They had a powerful tool, but essentially all it was doing was gathering dust. So this is how we went about fixing that issue. We had to revamp their training program. Start from the beginning, work your way back. It takes a lot to understand even the basics of Salesforce. So we moved away from generic sessions and developed a role-specific training that directly addressed how Salesforce could make each user's daily task more efficient and effective. For the sales reps, this meant focusing on how to quickly log calls and emails, efficiently track opportunities through sales stages, and generate accurate quotes directly within Salesforce. We also created easily digestible resources like short video tutorials and a comprehensive knowledge base. Crucially, we identified and empowered Salesforce champions within the sales team, those who were more tech-savvy and enthusiastic to provide peer-to-peer support and engagement. Leadership also had to play a role by constantly emphasizing the importance of using Salesforce and integrating its usage into the performance matrix, which ended up being a smooth transition. So number 4, the Crete monster. Now this is due to the lack of customization and scalability planning. As I consulted with a rapidly growing tech startup where their initial approach to Salesforce was to customize it heavily to mirror their exact legacy process, which it seems like a great idea. If it's not broke, don't fix it. While this seemed like a good idea at the time, it created a huge monster down the line. Every time they wanted to introduce a new feature or integrate with a new business tool, it became a major undertaking, requiring significant custom code and complex workflows. Their Salesforce admin was constantly fighting fires. They had outgrown some of their initial customizations, but untangling them felt like trying to unknit a tightly woven sweater. They were rightly concerned that their highly customized Salesforce was becoming a roadblock rather than a system for future growth. Now, our approach had to be a comprehensive review and simplification of their Salesforce configuration. We identified overly complex and underutilized customizations and explored whether standard Salesforce functionality or solutions available on the App Exchange could achieve the same outcomes but being more efficient with better long-term maintenance. For future enhancements, we emphasize the very importance of scale and maintenance by prioritizing tools like point and click configuration over custom code whenever it was feasible. We also implemented a formal change management process to carefully evaluate all future customization requests, ensuring they aligned with their overall business strategy and would not create unnecessary complexity down the road. Through documentation of all existing and new customizations became a non-negotiable part of their Salesforce management. Now, these were just a few examples of the real-world challenges that businesses face when implementing automations like Salesforce. By identifying the root causes and implementing targeted solutions, we can help them unlock the true potential of this powerful platform called Salesforce. Now, in the next few podcasts, you're going to hear me talk about more amazing automating systems. I am not a Salesforce consultant. I advise, I help fix. So if you want more information, like and subscribe. Find me on LinkedIn under Catherine K. My webpage, if you want to set up a consultation, is thesopspecialist.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.